We're here. Y'all know, I don't even know why I agreed to do these true crimes because I be so mad. Let's just jump into it. Let's talk about Drew Peterson, who is not to be confused with Scott Peterson, who basically is the same man. Basically. Drew Walter Peterson was a police officer child in Illinois, and he's been convicted of murder and was found guilty in the 2012 murder of his third wife, Kathleen Savio, a few months after their divorce in 2003. Peterson first received national publicity in 2007 when his fourth wife, Stacey Ann Cales Peterson, disappeared. Although the police and Stacey Ann's family suspect foul play, she has never been found. Suspicions in Stacey Ann's case were fueled in part by the death of Savio, unsure, whose bruised body was found in a dry bathtub in her home in 2004 with a large gash to her scalp. Initially, Savio's case, official cause of death, what do I be talking about? The word case is just not here, was found to be an accidental drowning. In 2009, after the attention from Stacey Ann's disappearance, Peterson was indicted for Savio's murder after a second autopsy showed evidence of a struggle. He was convicted. What do I be reading? What do I even be talking about on this channel, honestly? Why am I here? What are we doing here? You're watching me, I'm watching this case. Nobody cares. I'm having an existential crisis in the midst of talking about this crime child. He was convicted of the murder in 2012 and was sentenced to 38 years in prison on February 21st, 2013. On February 9th, 2015, Peterson was charged with 2 additional felonies. Solicitation, my God, today, of murder and solicitation of murder for hire for attempting to have Will County State Attorney James Glasgow killed. Peterson was convicted on May 31st, 2016 and sentenced to an additional 40 years, child, an additional 40, so 38 plus 40, on July 29th, 2016. On February 21st, 2017, he was transferred from Illinois Department of Corrections custody to the United States Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. In December 2019, Peterson was transferred to an undisclosed out-of-state facility. Personal life, chat. I don't really care. He ran cross country. He joined the Army. He moved to Falls Church, Virginia. He briefly went to the College of DuPage. He yada yada 30-year career with the police department, south suburb of Chicago, because it all comes back to Chicago, honey. In 1977, 78, Narcotics Squad, 79, Police Officer of the Year Award from the department. He retired in 2007 at 53 with the rank of sergeant and was given a tax-free $79,000 a year pension, almost $6,600 a month, which is a lot of money. His pension was terminated following his second conviction in May 2016. Marriages. He had done married Carol Brown. He met her in high school in Villa Park and together attended his senior prom. They married in 1974 but divorced in 1980 after about 5 or 6 years, after Brown learned about Peterson's infidelity. Together they had sons Stephen Paul Peterson and Eric Drew Peterson. And I would be very embarrassed that my name was in the Wikipedia of my father who had killed somebody. Or 2 somebodies. Peter married his second wife, Victoria Vicky Connolly, in 1982, 2 years after they divorced in 80 and 2 years after Stephen Paul had been born. They operated a bar together in Romeoville. Connolly alleged a history of domestic violence during her 10-year marriage to Peterson, as did her daughter, who lived in the household until she turned 17. In the wake of Stacey Ann's disappearance, Connolly told police that during their marriage, Peterson threatened to kill her and make it look like an accident. She divorced Peterson after he started dating Kathleen Savio. You know, he loved a good piece of infidelity, which is why he and Carol Brown got divorced. Their divorce was finalized on February 18th, 1992. Peterson married Savio 2 months later. I don't know why my voice got so emotional saying it. Peterson married accountant Kathleen Savio, born June 13, 1963 in Glendale Heights, Illinois, on May 3rd, 1992. Together they had 2 sons, Thomas, born January 5th, 93, Christopher, born August 8th, 94. And their divorce was finalized on October 10th, 2003. So they made it almost 10 years as well. It was reported that between 2002 and 2004, police were called out to the Peterson house, 18 times on domestic disturbance calls, including calls for returning children late after visitation. On March 1st, 2004, Savio's body was found in a waterless bathtub. Her death was initially ruled an accidental drowning by a coroner's jury. I don't know what a coroner's jury is. The coroner got a jury that included a police officer who personally knew Peterson and assured the others that he was a good man who would never hurt his wife. And that man needed to be in jail too, because you need to be investigating the cases and not telling folks how good you think this man is. However, following Stacy Peterson's later disappearance, Savio's body was exhumed and underwent forensic examination on November 16, 2007. Michael Baden, a former New York City medical examiner who conducted the examination at the request of Savio's relatives and Fox News, Fox News said, girl, dig up. That's just, why am I this way? Concluded that she died of drowning following a struggle when her body was placed in the bathtub. Now, I don't know how Peterson thought he was going to get away with she drowned in the tub, but the tub was waterless. We saw right up here that she was found in a waterless bathtub. Her body was placed in the bathtub. It was after a struggle. Post-mortem photos, because you know when you hover over something, honey, on these mysterious, it's just mysterious over here on Wikipedia. You don't know what you're gonna pull up, and it's probably a body of a dead deceased body, honey. And I'm not trying to get my channel took down. Postmortem photos showed extensive bruising and scraping to her back, torso, and face, as well as a large unexplained gash in her scalp. The results of the official autopsy ordered by the county have yet to be released to the public. Release those results. Will County State's Attorney James Glasgow told the press after examining evidence in the case, he believed the death was a homicide staged to look like an accident. On February 21st, 2008, Glasgow announced that a pathologist had determined that Savio's death was a homicide, adding that the death had been investigated as such since reopening the case following the exhumation. Reverend E. Glory, Neil Shorey, a pastor at Stacy's church, reported that Stacy had told him that Drew killed Savio and had made it look like an accident, and that she was afraid of her husband. And at that point, Pastor, you should have called the police. Stacy had provided Drew's alibi for his whereabouts on the evening on which Savio died. Now, Stacy, call the police. We just did an episode. You'll have to go back in the archives to Tuesday, January 18th. I did an episode of Play Fight with my sister Erica, and yeah, I'm a snitch. I'm telling. Anyway, Peterson's trial proceeding in July 2012 was jeopardized when prosecutors attempted to introduce evidence that was not allowed, and I don't know why they thought they could do that. The Chicago Tribune reported that the judge would rule on a mistrial on August 2nd, 2012. On August 15th, Peterson told the judge that he wanted to withdraw a request for a mistrial. His lawyer said that he wanted the current jury to decide if he killed his third wife. On September 6th, Peterson was convicted of killing Savio. So he should have went for the mistrial. You know, from a defense state, he should have went for that mistrial. On February 21st, 2013, he was denied a mistrial and sentenced to 38 years in prison. Now let's get to Stacy, honey. Stacy, she was born on January 20th, 1984. So she very well could still be living and should still be living because she would only be in her 30s, 30s, in her 30s, looking towards 40, looking towards it. Anyway, at age 49, Peterson married 19-year-old hotel receptionist Stacy Ann Kales, which that alone should have been enough to get him arrested. On October 18, 2003, she subsequently changed her last name to Peterson, as people do a lot of the times when they get married, but not all the time. Together, they had 2 children, Anthony, born 2003, and Lacey, born 2005. And this would be his 5th and 6th child. And he out here killing these cheering mamas. Stacy legally adopted Savio's children and treated them like they were her own. She was close to completing her nursing degree from Joliet Junior College at the time of her disappearance. On Sunday, October, spring, summer. On Sunday, October 28, 2007, Stacy was officially reported missing in the early hours of Monday, October 29th, after her sister Cassandra Kales failed to hear from her when expected. And her sister was like, girl, police. Peterson claims that Stacy called him at 9 p.m. on Sunday to tell him that she had left him for another man and that she had left her 2002 Pontiac Grand Am, which is this car right here, which I hate. I hate a Pontiac. They are so ugly. At Bolingbrook's Cloud International Airport, Stacy is still considered a missing person. She shouldn't be. Her family has launched a website to help find her. While talking with Marsha Clark, come on, Marsha Clark from OJ. Let's see what her, they didn't do the picture with the curl. They should have did her a picture with the curl. During Marsha Clark investigates the first 48, defense attorney Joel Brodsky claims to know what happened to Stacy and that he believes that after Drew passes away, Stacy will be found, which, why he gotta die for that? However, he refused to elaborate further, which means we need to pull him into the station. He need to come on in and talk. Obstructing justice, withholding evidence, legal trouble in murder trial. Several leads were followed in the investigation by Illinois State Police with FBI involvement. 4 search warrants were issued and carried out on Peterson's property following Stacy's disappearance, including the seizure of his firearms and both his and Stacy's vehicles. Peterson announced his plan to retire as a Bolingbrook police sergeant effective December 2007. On November 2015, on November 15th at the Bolingbrook Police Pension Board. On November, hold on, let me take that, rewind it back. Ludacris got the flow to make your booty go. On November 15th, the Bolingbrook Police Pension Board voted to allow Peterson to collect his pension of $6,067.71 per month. Per month. Monthly. State and current law gave them no option as he had not been convicted of a crime. Excuse us. Rick Mims, Peterson's long-term friend, admitted that he and Peterson bought 3 blue plastic containers from a cable company where they both worked part-time in 2003 and provided photos of these containers to police, which he should have done well before 2007. Mims also sold his story to tabloid newspapers for an undisclosed sum of money. Peterson's stepbrother Thomas Morphy, who has a history of drug and alcohol addiction, attempted suicide 2 days after allegedly helping Peterson carry a plastic container from Peterson's Bolingbrook home to his SUV, fearing he may have helped dispose of Stacy's body. Terrible. Neighbors reported seeing Peterson and another man hauling a 55-gallon barrel large enough to hold a person out of the house shortly after the disappearance. Cassandra Cales, my God, today, Stacy's sister, said she wanted Peterson to take a lie detector test about his knowledge of a blue container that she saw in his garage 2 days before Stacy disappeared. Joel Brodsky, Peterson's attorney, denied that any container was missing from Peterson's home, and I don't know how he would know that because he did not live there. There were also reports of truckers referring to the containers, but their stories were treated as not credible after it was discovered that they had not been in the Bolingbrook area at the times they claimed. Terrible. 2008 media appearance. On January 23rd, 2008, which would have been my brother and siblings, I don't know, like third birthday. I think they third birthday. 2008 was how many years ago? Because they about to be 17. I'm doing too much thinking, honey. I can't do math. And I drink iced coffee. Peterson and his attorney, Joel Brodsky, who we've already called out 3 times prior, called to the show of Chicago radio personality Steve Dahl. I don't know him, but here's here. That's him. Right there. He looked like Cassie Bates. Kathy Bates. Why I say Cassie? Because I'm struggling today. Who had been lampooning Peterson since the case began. And if you don't know what lampooning means, it means just kind of like ragging on him and dragging him, child, poking fun and calling him a murderer, probably. Brodsky suggested that Dahl host an on-air dating game with Peterson the following day. But WJMK managers and Dahl decided not to go through with it because why would you do that? Peterson appeared on CNN's Larry King Live Guy, Rest Larry's Soul, on April 11, 2008, with Brodsky again present to advise which questions Peterson should answer. The interview reran on May 9, 2009, 2 days after Peterson's arrest. Peterson subsequently made guest appearances, including one from jail on radio station WLS-AM with Mancow Muller, and that's him right there. His name is Matthew, but he decided he wants to be called Mancow. After that radio appearance, Will County Judge Stephen White severely limited Peterson's access to the media because you out here doing too much. 2008 engagement to Christina Raines. I'm not understanding. In December 2008, Peterson's publicist Glenn Selig confirmed Peterson was engaged to a 23-year-old Christina Raines. She would have been his 5th wife. On January 30th, 2009, it was made public that Raines had moved out of Peterson's house because why did she live there in the first place? Her father, Ernie Raines, had issued an ultimatum to his daughter out of concern about the way Peterson tried to control her and what he feared Peterson could do. Raines moved out of Peterson's home when she came to her senses, calling the engagement a publicity stunt designed to keep Peterson in the media spotlight. 2009 indictment over Savio murder. On May 7, 2009, Peterson was indicted by a Will County grand jury and arrested for the murder of Savio. Bail was set at $20 million. That's a lot of money. In October 2009, Peterson sued J.P. Morgan Chase for revoking a home equity credit line that he wanted to use to pay legal expenses, claiming his income of nearly $109,000 per year was not sufficient. In July 2010, Judge White ruled that Peterson would remain in the Will County Jail for the remainder of his trial and appeals process. Prosecutors argued that he could pose a danger if released, and I agree. On July 20, 2010, it was revealed that hearsay statements indicating Peterson killed 2 of his wives were not reliable enough for a jury to hear his trial. After presiding over a lengthy hearing, Judge White issued a 4-page sealed ruling in May, obtained by the Daily Herald. White ruled that prosecutors proved Peterson killed both Savio and Stacy by a preponderance of the preponderance of the evidence. But nearly all statements attributed to Stacy do not provide sufficient safeguards of reliability. I am struggling. The standard of proof in homicide cases is beyond a reasonable doubt. Preponderance of the evidence is the standard for fact-finding on questions of admissibility and, of evidence, even in a criminal case. My God, I don't even know what that said. I was just struggling to read. I don't even know what it said. Stacy's statements were crucial to the prosecution case, as it lacks significant direct evidence. In April 2012, an Illinois appellate court ruled that prosecutors could use 8 statements made by both the victim prior to her death and by Peterson's still missing 4th wife, Stacy, prior to her disappearance, reversing White's earlier decision. Peterson's defense had contended that introduction of these alleged hearsay comments constituted a violation of the his Sixth Amendment right to confront any witnesses testifying against him. The Illinois State Legislature attempted to help the prosecution with the passage of a new Illinois law, 725 ILCS 5, that what do you call that? Just slash 115-10.6, or Drew's Law, which allows prosecutors to enter hearsay statements into evidence under certain conditions. Passed while investigators were looking for Stacy, the legislation permits courts to consider statements from unavailable witnesses, my goodness today, provided that prosecutors are able to prove that the witness was killed to prevent his or her testimony that the hearsay statements are reliable. Now you got to do a lot of proving to prove that the witness was killed specifically for the statements, but anyway. Analysis by the trial court under his new law led to 8 out of 14 hearsay statements being ruled inadmissible because they were insufficiently reliable. On appeal, however, the Court of Appeals reversed the trial court, ruling that the common law doctrine of forfeiture by wrongdoing, which is less restrictive than Drew's Law, would allow the statements to be admitted. On August 22nd, 2012, Jeff Patcher, a witness at Peterson's murder trial, said Peterson offered him $25,000 to hire someone to kill Savio and told him it would be a secret that he would take to his grave. Verdict. On September 6, 2012, Peterson was found guilty of the premeditated murder of Savio. Jurors admitted that the most compelling evidence was based on the hearsay statements allowed under Drew's Law. On February 21st of the year following the year I told you, Peterson was sentenced to 38 years in prison for the murder of his 3rd wife. He was incarcerated at Menard Correctional Center in Chester, Illinois, which I think is also where John Wayne Gacy was at one point taken, but later moved to the Federal Correction Institution, Terre Haute, in Terre Haute, Indiana. Within a month, he was attacked by another prisoner who hoped to sell his belongings on eBay. And I don't know how he thought he was going to ship some things out to eBay from the prison. A number of appeals on September 21st, 2017. The Illinois Supreme Court upheld the conviction after a number of appeals, honey. I just didn't read the after. I just didn't. It was just not there in my mind's eye. In December 2019, Peterson was released from federal custody and transferred to a state facility outside of Illinois. His location is not being disclosed for security reasons. I feel like somebody gonna come out the prison and be like, yeah, Drew Peterson in there. And then everybody gonna know. The Illinois Department of Corrections stated Drew Peterson has transferred from the Federal Bureau of Prisons to a state facility outside Illinois. He remains under the jurisdiction of the Illinois Department of Corrections. For safety and security purposes, the department does not discuss details concerning the placement of offenders who have transferred under the terms of the Interstate Corrections Compact Agreement, which sounds like some white nonsense to me because Black folks get arrested, they get beat up all the time down to the jail and don't nobody move them, but okay. 2015 murder for hire charges. On February 9, 2015, Peterson was charged with attempting to put a hit on James Glasgow, the Chicago area-led prosecutor in his murder trial. After lead prosecutor in his murder trial, after a fellow inmate tipped off prosecutors to the plan and wore a wire to capture evidence against Peterson. In May 2016, he was found guilty of solicitation of murder and solicitation of murder for hire. He was subsequently sentenced to an additional 40 years in prison. These are the films and documentaries, honey, about his life. I'm not going to read through it, but Lifetime and Oprah had a lot to do with it. Dr. Phil, child, all of this. Kaylee Kiyoko from The Big Bang Theory. Ooh, they did her wrong in that picture. Portrayed Stacy. And Peterson said, stop it. And that's that. That's it. Appreciate you for joining me, honey. Thank you for coming on down to True Crime Tuesday. Why can't I talk? I've asked before, is there something neurologically wrong? Am I okay? Do I need to see someone? Call me back. Write it down in the comments because wow, I cannot speak. Like, comment, subscribe, and all the things the YouTubers say. And I'll catch y'all when I can talk better. Peace.